Hello, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Hi, Canine. Hi, Mike. Got some of our regulars in the house already. That's awesome. Um, it feels like I didn't just got done with the first one, and now I'm on the second one. Sure, September Rain. It's good to see you again. Yeah, I'm always here to listen, no matter what anybody has to say. As long as they're being kind and not disrespectful. That's all I care about. Um, so, gosh, you guys, there's been so much information coming through the last couple of days. And I know there's a couple of people who don't agree with Nick, right? But I'm just going to ask you on the outset to just please be respectful to Nick. I do like him. I think he's on the up and up. He was very kind to me when he didn't even have to be. As far as, sharing my video, promoting it, and, saying great creator, great content, that means so much to me. And so I'm just asking everybody to be respectful, okay? There were a couple of updates from him that I wanted to show you guys and see if you could help me figure them out, because it's so granny. My eyes are open, but boy, I don't know. Now, the first one that we showed earlier was these emojis, right? And I'm assuming they tell a story. And I don't know if each emoji means a person or what it's talking about, if it has to do with the alleged poker party. I'm not sure, okay? You can tell me what you guys think. The next one was this. Nick says the stage is set. People are going to be eating Christmas dinner while watching the house of cards collapse. I'm assuming that means the poker. I don't know. Our eyes are locked and soon the world's will be too. And then, most recent one. The truth lies not in what they utter, but in what they omit. Lies always cast shadows, and it is these shadows that they feared would be noticed. What do you guys think? Hello, Brenda Joe. You made it back to Gleason okay, I guess. So yeah, the truth lies not in what they utter, but in what they omit. Lies always cast shadows, and it is these shadows that they feared would be noticed. I'm really, really curious. Mike, be nice. I don't think they're senseless, Mike, number one. There is something behind what he's saying. Okay. So, we're going to continue on tonight with our video. I'm getting tired today. With our video that we started watching yesterday on the interview room, going over the first interview with Katie and Chris. Seemed to be Ginger Girl says, yes, lying by omission is a thing. It really is. It really is. And why do you say that, Mike? Lies cast shadows. Nope. I think they do. What does everybody else think? I think lies cast shadows. Um, that's why they're always found out. You know, the truth is always discovered. The truth is always discovered. Truth always comes out. So it's going to be interesting to hear, to see what ends up happening with all this information that we just ended up getting. And it was so funny because I went into Crime Time Buzz. Is that the name of it? I think her name is Jay. And she said the same thing that I said earlier. It was so funny because she said that she feels like she was gone for 24 hours and she missed so much stuff. And I said the same thing. It's like I took one night off from doing videos and from just really perusing the YouTube and the internet for things on Sebastian and other cases, and it just really cracked me up how she said the same thing. So it's true. You can go weeks and not see anything, and that's kind of what we saw in this case for a while, right? It was weeks, and the only thing that's why we started going back to the beginning, right? That's why we went back to the beginning, because we were like, we had to have missed something somewhere, something, right? And so, um, and then all of a sudden, things are happening. And it's funny because, law enforcement had this information. And of course, I mean, they're keeping things close to the vest. I get that. But my question is, they they had to have seen the entire video of Katie talking to Green Hoodie guy and never showed that to Seth. That's why. So, I mean, some of this stuff doesn't make sense to me. Ginger Girl says, to cast a shadow means that things are not. Things are not. Do you want to finish your statement, Ginger? By the way, welcome back. So, let's continue on. I'm going to share my screen. Here it goes. To cast a shadow is to cause something to be less enjoyable, as per Google. Gotcha. Has anyone seen the video of CP when he was talking live to a creator that he would be glad when all this is all said and done, because there would be a lot of people eating a lot of humble pie? I vaguely remember seeing him say something like that. You're suggesting that Seth's seen the whole car park video? Well, he hasn't come out and said that he did. In fact, what he did say was that, I mean, he probably has now, but when law enforcement showed it to him, what he said was all he saw was the back of Chris and Katie as they were walking to their car. Thank you, Super Cat. Welcome back. Oh, you have the recording on your phone. Okay. All right. Okay, well, let's get started on the video.
They were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with
Here
her.
we go.
So you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Famous last words.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project. So it's
Exactly, K9.
She feeds him the reporters. I wish those reporters would stop feeding a narrative. Just say, where were you and what happened, and let it run. That's what cops do. I mean, a good interviewer anyway.
Yeah.
Because he dovetailed right into that conversation.
Yeah.
They need to.
Yeah, he sure did. And that happens way too often. I wish more people would take training like my classes or similar, and learn to ask the right questions that will elicit the information that's very usable.
I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, it was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there and led to calling the cops, and here we are now.
And within minutes, there.
He said it again.
He did. Which, yeah, it elevates the sensitivity of that too. That, to me, that kind of solidified in my mind that is in his head. It is more of like, well, on to the next step. This is what we talked about. This is going to happen, and now they're into the next phase.
Yes, ma'am.
It was rapid fire. They had cars. They had cars from here down to the
main
road, as far as I could tell.
So what's going through both of your minds? I mean, are we panicking? Is it this? Oh, I think he's.
See, she's given him a multiple choice. And ladies and gentlemen, take Steve's class, because that's not how you interview. Okay. This is a news interview, but this is not a law enforcement interview. So I would be real curious what they told law enforcement 8 days earlier. I guarantee you they're not going to line up.
For sure.
Probably at a neighbor's house, or what are you thinking?
My son doesn't run. He's not a runner. He's never run away before. I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid.
Hold up, Chris. Let's talk about that just for a second. I know we've got a lot to cover here, but she asked him specific. The reporter asked specifically something to the effect of, what's going through your mind? Are you thinking he's at a neighbor's house? I mean, she offered that possibility to the parents. And what did mom go to? She went to him being a runner. Well, she said, my son's not a runner, but I'm wondering why, out of all the possibilities, are you going to, he's not a runner? And then she says, he's never run away before. It tells me in her mind, there's no other possibility other than that he ran away. And it's, again, very similar to Summer Wells. They had their narrative. They had this, Summer Wells' parents knew what happened, that somebody came up on their property and took her. And Chris, you and I, from all our investigations, we know that in a case like this, you don't know. You don't know if did Sebastian walk out? Did his dad come and get him? Was he lured out by someone else? Did possibly did he get internet access that we didn't know about? Did he, a friend? Did he go to a friend from school? There's so many possibilities. but yet they're not getting off that. And so she says, I don't know why he walked out that door. So she's telling us that's the only possibility, that he walked out that door. There's nothing else on the table. That's the only possibility. And it's just, again, incongruent. It shouldn't be that way. It's not what we expect.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. DLR, right? Does not look right.
Right.
Or sound right. So far.
He's not a mischievous child by any means. But there's answers to questions that have no answers, or questions with no answers right now that we are searching for desperately, and we just don't.
Is there anything that happened that day that you think back and there might have been a reason he was possibly upset, or something outside that could have enticed him to go outside? Was there anything that came to mind?
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving. It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or he'd been in trouble, but he hadn't been in trouble.
Okay, right there. So, interesting that mom says he was in a good mood. He was behaving. Again, a subtle reference to the times that he's not behaving. And I get it. He's a 15-year-old boy and autistic, and I'm sure it's a handful. But when they're missing, it's very common for the negative things to not be at the forefront. They take a back seat to all the good things about the child. And so here she brought it to the forefront, but she said something to the effect of, I don't remember the exact words, but even all the people, all that we know or whatever, agreed that he was in a good mood.
Let's go back for a second, and I'll replay it for you,
Okay.
So we can all hear it one more time. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking. Everyone we were around that day agreed that he seemed like he was in a good mood. He was behaving. It'd make more sense if we'd been fighting.
Or he'd been in trouble, but he hadn't been in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, and we know that this is not, well, maybe this was the first time they brought it up, but it's not been the only time that they brought up about he wasn't in trouble. He wasn't in trouble. They brought that up several times now, and I agree. Why bring that up? I don't get why that was brought up, unless there was a reason for it to be brought up, according to what we know, when Sebastian looked at Green Hoodie Guy, he didn't show any kind of an emotion, right? He was just blank from what Justin talked about. And I think the same thing, Kana. I think Sebastian was always in trouble with them. I don't think they understood the dynamics of having an autistic child and how patient you have to be. That's my opinion. Did they go to classes? You got to wonder. It's not a question I would ask them because it's not something that is going to help us find Sebastian. It's a little bit too late after the fact now, right? But I feel like, especially Chris, but she allowed it. So she's just as guilty, in my opinion. But Chris was very hard on him, I think. very hard on him. Was more of a disciplinarian than he was trying to raise a child in the way he should go, right? And oops. Hello, Violet. She makes no sense 9 months after this interview, in my opinion. Well, now she's quiet. There's two different ways you can look at being silent, right? You can think about what Nick said, or you can look at silence as golden. You can look at either or. But when you're looking at crime cases, 9 times out of 10, the ones being silent, the ones that have gone just super silent, have turned out to be guilty. Who goes completely quiet? Yeah. 2 months? I think it was a little longer than that, though, wasn't it? The reason I say that is because I know that Chris was showing up in chats, people's chats and stuff. He's been on... No, I'm not going to bring up the name of that creator, but he's not going to be... He's been on a certain creator, You do know that Chris took anger management and court-ordered parenting classes, according to court reports. And the lead investigator signed off on these courses. Who was the lead investigator? Was it his friend, his buddy? Because we know he has friends in high places, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that he took parenting classes for a child with autism. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said about these two. If they maybe had behaved differently in the beginning and would have remained consistent, we might be thinking differently today. But they haven't. They haven't remained consistent throughout the whole thing.
So interesting that even all the people that we'd been around agreed that he'd been in a good mood. It's that agreed is it caught me by surprise, actually. That means you've been talking to them, and you, was he or wasn't he? Why does there have to be an agreement that he was in a good mood? To me, this is more of a narrative building type of situation, building the narrative that he was in a good mood, that he was happy. That's the story they're trying to sell. The soggy bread, Chris, that they're trying to sell is that he was in such a good mood that he wouldn't leave on his own. He wouldn't walk out that door. He's not a runner. You should believe me, because even everyone that we were around agreed. So if you didn't believe me before, you should agree now, because everyone else agrees that he was in a good mood. You see how they're building that narrative, and she's selling it. That's what that is there. And then you have Dad or CP
building that narrative. And what did she do the minute that Seth walked into her home the day that Sebastian went missing? She runs up to Seth and shows him the picture and says, see, he had a great day. Which is so out of context for a man walking into the home of his son after just finding out that his son was missing. And the mother of his son walks up to him, shoving this phone in his face and saying, see, he had a great day. And then the picture wasn't even of that day. So what was she trying to prove? What kind of narrative is going on here? So, September, I believe that she did take a polygraph. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but
He saying, well, mom said it'd make more sense if we'd been fighting, meaning she brought it up. I wonder why did she bring that up? And then CP saying, or if he'd been in trouble, but he hadn't even been in trouble. And it's just a subtle reference to, hey, Sebastian gets in, we fight sometimes. He fights, or he gets in trouble. And I know it's minor,
you
but
would think,
it's troubling
Mike.
for me in the context that he's missing. And so I know that when the kids are missing like this, those negative things take a back seat, and what comes to the forefront is all the good things about them. And you're right, this like you said, it's a disconnect, and it's troubling. Again, disconnect.
Yeah, and in their mind, they're projecting into his mind that
Good.
if he gets into trouble here, oh, well, then we could understand him being gone.
Good. Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of goes along with what Mike said. Wouldn't it better fit their narrative if he was in trouble, if he had misbehaved? You know, I mean, and I think people could understand that even better, right? You got a 15-year-old autistic boy who maybe threw a temper tantrum. People would understand that, right? If you just came out and said that from the beginning, but no, oh, he had such a good day. I like what Violet says. Silence is conviction. I'm going to go ahead and share Granny's ism today. Silence isn't empty. It is full of answers. Don't know who the author is. If you Google it, it's there. Silence isn't empty. It is full of answers. That's my grannyism for today. So think about that while we're watching this. Kind of interesting. They got change. Hello. CP said the poly was an open book cheat test. Yeah. Especially if I forget, somebody had said, not, again, this is rumor. I can't prove this, but somebody had said that Chris offhandedly said, well, there's ways to get around those, and he mentioned Xanax and whatever. So, not sure if that's true, but I have heard that before as well. Gotcha. What kind of poll do you want to do? Do you have the plus sign at the bottom of your chat, K9? I knew I was in big trouble when my mom went silent. And you know what? Isn't that true? Or when our children were little and things got really quiet all of a sudden, it's like, oh, something's going on. I better go run and check on them. That is so true. Just trying to make things look better and searching for that's okay, September Rain. We don't have to, you know. I know, right? It's been a fuzzy case where they agree on the things their boy had done, yet they say openly their child was happy and never really was a bad child. But, you know, and I'm going to say this because Seth has been just honest from the beginning. You know, he loves Sebastian. He tells stories about him, tells good stories, but he also says how he can throw his little fits or won't do something. You know, he has said that. You know, right from the get go. He's never he's never said that. Oh, he's such a perfect little kid. He's always happy. You know, he's never said that. When your dog is quiet, you better check. Isn't that true? It is. Uh yeah, okay. Let's continue on. We might not get through this
Yeah, I
whole thing
agree.
tonight.
Because what they're doing, right? I mean, they're transferring
Yeah.
everything into Sebastian's mind of, but then they project him as, well, he doesn't get in trouble. But if he did get in trouble, we would understand him being gone here.
Chris, now that you say that, I've been kind of getting this sense here that Sebastian may have got in trouble that night, may have not liked what was going on. There may have been some kind of argument or fight. It came out of their brain. They
Not like
introduced
those
it.
guys outside the Texas Roadhouse.
And so
and threw a
that
fit in the car.
may have been the catalyst for Sebastian. If he walked out that door on his own, or they put him out the door,
No, he
then
didn't walk
it's
out.
a form of justification. And those that have guilty knowledge have to have more times than not, need to justify it. And this subtle implication or inference that Sebastian got in trouble, would fight, would misbehave, those little inferences now are becoming even stronger to me, that there's a good chance that night that she portrayed, that day she portrayed as the normal, that he was behaving. I told her I loved you, told my mom, he told me that I loved you. I love you, Mom. I'm thinking that it was probably, I mean, I'm not 100% there, Chris, but I'm pretty close, that it was probably just the opposite that night. And there was probably an argument, and it's something that didn't go well. So I still don't know. Did Sebastian walk out on his own? Was he put out? Was he taken out? I don't know. I can't say that, but I'm not liking what I'm hearing here.
So, I mean, the $1 million question, why did he go? And the other $1 million question is how.
What about social media?
Hold on.
I'm glad
I think
because I stopped it too. Go ahead.
that might have been, should have been your tagline for this show, the $1 million question. As I heard that, I thought, well, the $1 million question is, where is he? Where is he?
Amen.
But Dad's $1 million question, or CP's $1 million questions are justification questions. Well, why? Why did he go? And how did he go? In his mind, there's no question of where is he. That really is the $1 million question, but not to him. It's how can we justify this? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, and the shrug, it's like, yeah,
done.
Yeah, okay, and here we are. After the 3 minute
I can
call,
almost see your brain going September.
Here we are. Now they're 8 days into. Well, that's
because I'm thinking the same
big question.
thing.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
Same.
Is there anything that, anyone he could have contacted? I understand he was somewhat of a gamer, or there was a video game he loved, right?
Minecraft. He loves Minecraft. The game that he has is not online. He has the Switch.
We don't, because of how social media can be, he doesn't have accessibility to communicate with folks
on the internet.
I mean, we have a firm belief that we just don't feel right now that he's capable of having that kind of responsibility. So, I mean, his phone is locked down, his computers, his gaming. He doesn't have a gamer tag. He doesn't have online capabilities with games. I mean,
We've combed every electronic.
I mean, we've cooperated with all the authorities as far as anything they've asked us to provide, we've provided.
That's an interesting statement. We've
Yeah.
cooperated with all the authorities as far as
Yeah.
everything they've asked. Well, okay.
I was going to have you stop it there too. I'm glad you stopped. Because he qualified it, just like as far as, but did that even need to be stated that we've cooperated with authorities? This is your child. Why? We all assume that you're cooperating. That only begs the question, what are you hiding? Why even introduce the possibility of a lack of cooperation? Why they need to say that? It's not necessary to say. We just expect you're cooperating. Of course you're cooperating. No one would have thought to ask, and now we're asking. Wait a minute, that's a head scratcher.
Go ahead and do the poll, guys.
Is there a possibility you're not fully cooperating? And now you break it down even further. Like, well, you just qualified your cooperation as far as. So it begs the question: are you hiding something?
Well, and that's to dovetail into your thought. It's interesting. They go from what the likes are of the Sebastian, he likes to play Twitch, to we're cooperating with the authorities. I mean, it's almost like this, he jumped into a different train track immediately to tell everybody, well, we've let him have access to all of the information in their, our computers and his computer, et cetera, et cetera. But what's interesting is the authorities have said that nobody's been cleared. And that unfortunately includes them. And they said that at the 2-month mark. So maybe that's where the concept of as far as has a little more weight and a little more power. Maybe there's other things that there hasn't been a lot of help with. I don't know. I mean, I'm just right. I mean,
Me
you've been
too,
in this
Ginger Girl.
situation 100 times where we've talked to folks that have said A, B, C, and D, and it's E, F, and G, and you go, well,
Right.
Yes,
I'm
they
not
are
buying that
canine.
yet,
This is actually the fact that he said that is a statement to portray himself in a good light. Why does he need to portray himself in a good light in this situation? Again, that is unexpected, and it's something that we often see in situations where we hear that from people that have some guilty knowledge in the situation. He shouldn't be having to portray himself in a good light. Mom shouldn't have to be portraying herself as a good mom. You see, we're seeing a pattern here.
Seeing a pattern there, and that's been their pattern. This was their first interview, guys. Remember that. They're seeing a pattern of protecting their peaches. Right? They're protecting themselves. They are. Why? Why are they worried about themselves unless they have something to hide? Why did she not bring up that she ran into somebody outside of Texas Roadhouse? Why'd she not bring that up? I'm curious. It's kind of like somebody said earlier that not saying something is potentially lying, especially if it's a crime situation.
And I think it's going to continue on.
$100 says you clip this and into your classes.
I'm not going to take that bet because
All right, hang on. Here we go.
And still just don't have any answers.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All
Amen,
of his
Ginger.
friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
So this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why. All right, so let's talk too about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well,
Yes, ma'am.
He
Very
is.
much.
right? And how would you describe that relationship, the two of them and the four of you?
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy, and I mean, he didn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
I'm in two different households, and the communication between the three of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
Almost.
Is he talking about biological dad or
Yeah.
Sebastian? The
He's
biological
talking
dad.
about the father.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting description there, because he's letting her talk, which is good, right? Because you know, her ex, yet he kind of colors in number 5 on the painting, with blue.
Right.
Everything's great, use paint number 5. Everything's perfect, but later on, it just.
I like how he said, key word here, letting, okay? He said he's letting her talk. Isn't that the truth, guys? He's letting her talk for a change. That stood out to me. He's letting her talk, and then he's filling in.
Unravels. I mean, the two are ready to strangle one another.
Well, and again, this is a continuation of him portraying himself as a good guy. I communicate with him almost daily. It's more of that portrayal, and I get it. I'm going to give him a break, because I want to hear about good relationship, but it needs to still be contextual and still. I want to hear more things, but most of what I'm hearing is CP kind of like rehabbing himself, if you will, for whatever reason. And maybe he's been lambasted a little bit in the media up to this point. I don't know, but he has a need to portray himself as a good guy, which is, again, troubling. You shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, the whole clarity of focus, to your point, should be on Sebastian. I mean, what the heck is going on here? There's not this, 8 days later, it's almost as if it's like, okay. I mean, 8 days later, and, and I've, in our situation, and I only speak from personal experience of, I can't believe this. This can't be happening.
Right.
It's like this fog of life, and here it's like, yeah, all of his friends have been interviewed, nothing. We turned over, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I love the soggy bread. I'm not buying any soggy bread right now.
Right.
I think we have a soggy bread emoji too, everybody.
I'm just trying to see if I could blow it up better. No, I can't. I think what they did was they They blew up the picture. I'd have to take the picture and then blow it up in order to see the marks on his arms. I agree with you. I don't see them either. So I guess that is something that I would want to do on my own so that I know no filters were used, right? I know others have done it and said they saw them. So, I don't know. But I know that, you can use filters and it makes you look like you have bruises all over your face. So I'm not sure. Rosebud. Hey, Rosebud. Yet no alliance, no putting our heads together and finding him. Only Seth as far as we know. Seth not knowing about those CP situations. That's betrayal. It is. You trust these two with your son and he's gone. Okay, so she's fixing to elbow Chris. Okay, everybody, keep an eye out. Okay. I hope I didn't make it go backwards.
I'm not hearing it. It's opposite.
Yeah, there's a disconnect here. There's a disconnect.
That's it.
I mean, and my circumstance. I mean, when Karen and I lost our son, I was standing at the teacups with our niece in Disneyland when that phone rang and we got the message that our son had passed from the police in an accident. And I can tell you that is ingrained here and here. I can tell you exactly what emotions came over me and how they flooded my mind, my body. I'm not seeing this. This little boy, 15-year-old autistic son, and they've had 8 days now to process this. 8 days. And, to your point, Steve, I'm not seeing that. It's like, oh, here we go. Let's move. We got things to move. And he's a former military guy. He's a former Navy guy. So for him, maybe it's like, saddle up. Let's move. We got things to do.
Could be. But Chris, as you're describing, you remembered you were at the teacups when you got that news.
Did I end up going too far back, guys?
That what flooded your mind was your last conversations with your son, the last time you were with him. I bet that was like forefront in your mind.
Yeah. And I didn't believe it because he was just at our house, earlier, and it's gone. To your point. So you're right. I mean, here, I'm not, it's just like this disconnect.
There's a big disconnect here. And it's troubling.
It is troubling for me too.
Called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her, so you were not home?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude Project. So it's,
she feeds him the reporters. I wish those reporters would stop feeding.
I think I did go back too far. Let me just say, check it out.
Where were you and what happened? And let it run. That's what cops do. I mean, a good interviewer anyway.
Yeah.
Because he dovetailed right into that conversation.
Yeah.
They need to.
Yeah, he sure did. And that's
everything they've asked. Well, okay.
I was going to have you stop it there too. I'm glad you stopped. Because he qualified it, just like as far as, but did that even need to be stated that we've cooperated with authorities? This is your child. Why? We all assume that you're cooperating. That only begs the question, what are you hiding? Why even introduce the possibility of
No, I
A
haven't,
lack of
Mike.
cooperation. Why they need to say that? It's not necessary to say. We just expect you're cooperating. Of course you're cooperating. No one would have thought to ask, and now we're asking. Wait a minute, that's a head scratcher. Is
Right,
there a
Ginger?
possibility you're not fully cooperating? And now you break it down even further. Like, well, you just qualified your cooperation as far as. So it begs the question: are you hiding something?
Well, and that's to dovetail into your thought. It's interesting. They go from what the likes are of the Sebastian, he likes to play Twitch, to we're cooperating with the authorities. I mean, it's almost like this, he jumped into a different train track immediately to tell everybody, well, we've let them have
I agree,
access to
Rosebud.
all of the information in their, our computers and his computer, et cetera, et cetera. But what's interesting is the authorities have said that nobody's been cleared. And that unfortunately includes them. And they said that at the 2-month mark. So maybe that's where the concept of as far as has a little more weight and a little more power. Maybe there's other things that there hasn't been a lot of help with. I don't know. I mean, I'm just right. I mean, you've been in this situation 100 times where we've talked to folks that have said A, B, C, and D, and it's E, F, and G, and you go, well,
Right.
I'm not buying that yet.
This is actually the fact that he said that is a statement to portray himself in a good light. Why does he need to portray himself in a good light in this situation? Again, that is unexpected, and it's something that we often see in situations where we hear that from people that have some guilty knowledge in the.
Did you hear that? They're trying to portray themselves in a good light. Sometimes we see that in people who have some guilty knowledge. I didn't say it, he did. And Mike, to my knowledge, there is no footage since Sebastian's been gone about, anywhere inside the house. I don't think Chris allowed anything like that to go on. But K9 is right. If you go to Zillow and you search for 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville, Tennessee, you can see the whole inside of the house. Yeah, you're right. They don't show the garage, I don't think, because I have looked several times at that. Remember Chris Watts? Oh gosh, do we ever, right? That investigator asked about Shanann hurting the girls and he ran with it. Right? He did. They threw that out there and he ran with that. That's deceptive, and one asked for, yeah. Well, yeah, the police officer did that for a reason. I don't think this reporter was intentionally doing something like that. But okay. So let me take a look here. We'll continue on.
In the situation, he shouldn't be having to portray himself in a good light. Mom shouldn't have to be portraying herself as a good mom. You see, we're seeing a pattern here, and I think it's going to continue on.
$100 says you clip this and into your classes.
I'm not going to take that bet because.
All right, hang on. Here we go.
Still just don't have any answers.
I see
Do
that.
we have any
The
friends
purple, if you
that
can't
could
be nice
possibly
when you're
have
saying
affected him in
something,
some way?
don't say
On
anything
his
at all.
phone?
Because
All
we
of
don't
his
do
friends
that
at
here.
school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
Thank you, Ginger,
Question mark.
Mike,
He's vanished.
Rosebud. I
Now
appreciate it.
can figure out where or why. All right, so let's talk too about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well,
Yes, ma'am, very much.
right? And how would you describe that relationship, the two of them and the four of you?
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy, and I mean, he doesn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
I mean, two different households. And the communication between the three of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
Almost.
Is he talking about biological dad or
Yeah.
Sebastian, the
He's
biological dad?
talking about the father.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting description there, because he's letting her talk, which is good, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
her ex, yet he kind of colors in number 5 on the painting, with blue.
Right.
Everything's great, use paint number 5. Everything's perfect, but later on it just unravels. I mean, the two are ready to strangle one another.
Well, and again, this is a continuation of him portraying himself as a good guy. I communicate with him almost daily. It's more of that portrayal, and I get it. I'm going to give him a break, because I want to hear about good relationship, but
Whoop, sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was muted there. But are you Nightbot? No. Well, Nightbot is an automated thing, so you're aware. Anyway, sorry. I was chatting away there and you guys weren't hearing me. I am so sorry about that. But anyway, I had a thought about that because Ginger said that Katie has nothing negative to say about Seth's parenting abilities, and that's very interesting. I found that interesting too. And Dreaming of Blue Skies said, which, hi there, glad to see you back. I'm glad there and acknowledge what a good father he is and how involved he is in his son's life. I think that's all great. But we just found out, and we were talking about, I don't know, last week or something, where when Seth's video came out and Seth let it be known that law enforcement had been looking at him from the very beginning, you know, and he was upset about that, understandably so, but he was being very open to them. But it made us wonder, did Katie and Chris say something about Seth in their phone call to law enforcement, right? Or we know that the law enforcement are very close with Katie and Seth. We've heard that as well. So I feel like Katie and Chris have had a narrative going on when they're talking about things. Are they being positive about Seth because they believe it? Or are they being positive about Seth for another reason? My question. Katie did post about Seth about the base though and aggressive behavior. Yes, she did. But I think she did that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But somebody threw him under the bus. It's my opinion. Let's continue on. I think we need to skip ahead still a little bit.
He loves to help. He loves running, and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh, God, he loves music.
An eclectic taste. From
why his mom hated
Eye of the
Sebastian
Tiger,
or hated
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, so we got
Seth.
Pearl Jam on one hand, we've got Survivor on the other over here, we've got Taylor Swift and
He's got a big crush on her. Country, rock.
no hip
Classic.
hop. We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really
Well, I
get
say
into it
rap and
anyways.
things.
You mentioned he loved running. So, did he love the outdoors
He
at
did
all?
Seth,
And would
okay.
something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be enticing to him?
That's
or
sad.
Pull him outdoors?
He loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser. And every year I did this many laps. I did this many laps. I've got T-shirts where they would write on his back. Every time the kids went around, they'd mark a mark on the back, and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back. He likes playgrounds. He hates being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Yeah, he's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
He loves animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, Rosewood, that's a good thought. I've heard different things, like, was he collateral for what they owed from the poker game because those poker games are high stakes? As a mother, I cannot imagine doing that. But honestly, the way this world has gone, and yes, I'm a granny, but I like to think I'm up to date, more up to date than a lot of grannies my age, but this world has gone crazy. And we see things all the time. I look at the Stephen Stearns Madeline Soto case. That mother allowed her son to go sleep with them. So, I have seen things now that anything's on the table, right? Because we just don't know. But when we look at those kinds of things, because everything's on the table right now, we don't know what is what's out there. We don't know where he is or what he's doing, if he's alive or not. But these kinds of things give me hope that he's alive out there, that they did take him somewhere. That would be awesome. Early on, I was thinking Sebastian tried to get to Taylor Swift's residence in Nashville. That would be really cute, Mike, but I don't think it's very plausible. I think you've gone away from that. But I'm still of the mind, and it's okay that you disagree with me, Mike, but I don't believe that Sebastian walked out that door. There's no scent. So, Quentin Simon case, another one. Maybe it was not her choice, and I say with all respect, for God's sake, Katie, if you're in trouble, go and get help. For God's sake, Katie, if you're in trouble, if you're afraid of your husband, there are people out there that can help you. Your husband and his family. I had been I am a DV survivor, okay? No one knows worse than me. Well, I shouldn't say that, but no one knows better than me that it is very difficult to get out of that kind of a relationship when just on a normal abuse situation. But if there are big money ties behind things, that's very, very different thing. Very, very different thing. You said, I have thought from the very beginning that Katie had put him in a private group to protect him from Chris. But then why take him away from his dad? Unless she really did not like his dad. But I know that Sus had people working on that kind of thing. So oh, that's all right, Mike. That was years ago, and you know, I've healed through that situation. But if Katie, for instance, contacted me and said she needed help, I would, no matter what my thoughts were, I would help her. You know. And so when we're saying, Katie, for God's sakes, if you know something, get some help. Because there are people out there who will help. Dreaming of blue skies, thank you. I appreciate that. September rain, thank you. I believe he is somewhere, no one in the right mind. How could you be so calm about it if they heard this? Right? I mean, I believe in this interview, she was very sad, especially at the beginning. I believe the rocking is real. But goodness. Okay. Right, Ginger? Yeah. I had a family who was very strong. I told you my mom had 10 brothers and sisters. My one uncle went looking for what is now my ex with my father. So, I mean, I had people behind me. But, you know, there's a lot that you go through. So many pieces don't make sense. No shoes, no scent. Took time to lock the front door. Not picked up on a single Ring doorbell or security camera in the neighborhood. Exactly. That's why I'm of the mind that he did not walk out of that house. So, right. And you don't see Katie as being fearful of Chris? Well, you know, that could be. Um, I don't know. That's a thought, Mike. You got me thinking. um, I think, from the things that Seth has said about Katie, just offhanded because he doesn't talk about her much, but I think that he thinks she's pretty strong-willed too. So, oh, thank you, K9. She's a redhead. I mean, is she really, or is that dyed? But the mask a deviant or a traumatized person can wear is worn tight-fitting. Yeah, you're right. For a long, long time, you can do that, and I did for a while. Long time. It affected everything about me for a long time. It really did. But let's watch a little bit more of this. We're not going to go too much longer tonight, but we'll watch a little bit more.
Yeah.
Even a fly, and he's like, oh!
Let's talk too, because he's highly functioning. I know you all have described him as having a form of autism.
He does.
But just describe that to our viewers too, as far as his way of thinking of things and maybe how determined he was about certain things or his mindset.
He's got a stubborn mindset. If he believes it's this,
He gets on a one-man track, and he is just on it, and he is all about it.
but I mean, he's very smart.
He's
I mean,
not.
he can play chess. He can beat adults in chess. So
Wow.
he's
He loves playing games.
What about navigation? Like, did he have a sense of direction? Do you think he could have possibly even hitched a ride or gotten a ride on a bus or some sort of transportation?
that is a speculation that we don't have an answer for. Just directionally, he knows he could guide you from our house to his dad's house.
Yeah.
He could get from like this house. I think he can make it up to Culver's ice cream.
He can go to Culver's.
Oh, the boy loves
He
a
knows
malt.
where Culver's is because Culver's has malt. He loves malt, extra malt. Every time, extra malt.
Now, how far away does his dad live?
Clarksville. His dad lives up by Clarksville.
So he could guide someone all the way to Clarksville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. So a pretty keen sense of direction, at least with certain things.
Familiar routes.
Yes.
Familiar routes. Okay.
Familiar routes.
I mean, if I took him another route going
He
this way,
takes
he would
it.
not know it.
He goes up there so often that he knows how to get to his daddy's. We know that.
His dad works with him as far as, oh, we're going this way, we're going that way, and keeps the same thing, and it works out. So,
Let's talk too, because earlier, Chris, you and I were talking, and you were saying that there are a lot of people who are harassing both of you. What, if any of that, do you want to address? What do you want to say to any of these people?
Just that you don't know. And I don't wish you to ever know.
I would say it like this. Everybody has an opinion. You know, and it's perfectly okay to have that opinion. But you're not in this situation. You don't quite understand. I wish people would step back, take a different wide open view, and not assume what they know. It's just better to stick to the facts. If they have questions, all they have to do is ask.
And I pray genuinely that no one ever goes through this.
Hey, Chris.
Okay. So, do you see her face right there? I really believe that she means what she says, but go through what? Go through what? That's my question. Go through what? Katie was Chris's superior in the Navy. She was his boss. That's interesting. Okay, so you guys, who do you think wears the pants in their family? Rosebud, you were asking the same thing I was, right? Because her face right there is genuine. Is it not? That's what I think. Her face is genuine. She wishes that no one would have to go through this. Mike, you're a sweetheart, but I don't think that's it. I'm sorry. I just don't. Um I believe Katie knows where her son is. That's my opinion. I believe Katie knows where her son is. You know, that's she was the last person to see him, guys. You know, so he didn't walk out that door. There was no scent that he walked out. He didn't run away. He didn't. I know, Mike, you said something earlier about being stuck in the stairs, but law enforcement went through that house over and over and over and over again. More than 10 times within the first couple of days, they said. So, you know, I just really feel like, and who was it earlier that said, I think, Ginger, it is as if she was put in a position to make a decision she might not have wanted to do, and that's why she's hurting, right? That's why she's hurting. That's why she doesn't want anybody to go through what she's going through. Bingo. Bingo. Do I think she drove him away that morning? No. No. Because there are cameras that would have seen her car leaving. And I know, Mike, you don't believe it, but the flashlight video. That's what I think happened. The flashlight video. He was carried out of that house across their backyard to that waiting car. That's my opinion. Was he alive or not? I do not know. Was he abducted? I don't think so. Because how would he have been abducted from their house when all the doors were locked? Yes, it all happened in the back of that house. So that's my thought. I know everyone handles things differently, but in my opinion, it seems like most moms would respond similar to the way Riley Strain's mom did when they were looking for him, which was absolutely heartbreaking. I agree. And yes, people are different, but when you look at moms like Jennifer Soto, right? When you look at Katie, I mean, you guys just out of the norm. You think he was already gone before the flashlight and the car? How? You think he never got home, September Rain? I think he got home. But I mean, I don't have anything to back that up. So, you know, I've seen the flashlight video. I believe that that is real. And it is real. Law enforcement has even said that there was no scent leading from the house. So I should clarify that. No scent of Sebastian. Okay. But, you know, I mean, we're going on speculation, but that's how we try to see what we can discover, you know, and find the receipts to match what we're thinking. And so far, those are the things to me that make sense. And Dreaming of Blue Skies says, I agree, Granny. In my opinion, I think he made it home, and the flashlights and car are key to solving the case. Yeah, I think so too. When Nick asked my opinion, that's what I told him. He wanted more. I said, I'm stuck. After that, I'm stuck. I don't have any more information. If I did, I would have told him a long time ago. The dog was following the most disturbed ground, tracking dogs, not scent dogs. Right. And Katie went with Chris after the TRH. Well, so much. And Chris brought Katie back at 3 a.m. But there was footage showing Katie and Sebastian leaving TRH. So, you know, I'm not sure about that September rain. I mean, I'm glad you guys are putting these things out there. Mike, I swear to God, you're wrong. Oh, you just make me laugh. You know, you just make me laugh. And for those of you who are new in here, you can see that I don't mind anybody disagreeing with me. Everybody has the right to their opinion as long as they're doing it respectfully. You know, I'm going to respect your thoughts. I'm going to respect your opinion. I may agree to disagree with you, and that's where Mike and I agree to disagree, because Mike doesn't believe in the flashlights and I feel they're true. So, but that's what I want for our channel, is to be open and free to say what we want to say respectfully to each other. And, because if everybody agrees with me, we're never going to have any kind of conversation here. I don't want yes people. Okay. I want everybody to feel free to share what they feel, what they're thinking, what they're seeing. Mike. Oh, oh, goodness. I've been thinking this for so long. Yeah. I have wondered that too, if they didn't put Sebastian in a home. In the beginning, it seemed as though, trying to think of that the whole thing about Sebastian going to live with Seth was brought up by Chris. And I'm wondering, now that we know a little more, because I do believe that CPS made Chris leave the house. That's why he wasn't there in February. And Chris made the comment about Sebastian thought he could get me out of the house. Okay. So what if just throwing this out there, guys. What if Chris talked to Seth about Sebastian going to stay with him, but Katie absolutely was not having it? Okay? See where I'm going with this? So what if, and then Chris talked to Katie, because Chris is always going to back Katie, right? What if Chris said, okay, well, what if we find another place for Sebastian? And they came up with some kind of scenario. Absolutely, Ginger Girl. I agree with you. There were enough neighbors that saw everything that flashlight video holds, that's why I believe the flashlight video. Because the neighbors said it. The neighbors confirmed it. So to me, that's receipts and that's facts, right? So anyway, that is, but why not keep him safe? Well, maybe he is. We don't know, September Rain, that he's not, right? But I'm going to tell you something. If they did do that, if they took him away somewhere, if they went and hid him, they're going to answer for that. Because look at what is his cost, law enforcement. Do you think the 7+ hour trip commute to work would be excessive, hence the trailer in Memphis? I don't know, but I heard that weekend was a 4-day weekend, Mike. So, I mean, yes, it's excessive to come home in one night, but I heard that there was a 4-day weekend and he could have stayed elsewhere at his mom's in Gallatin. What if Katie was afraid of Sebastian going into therapy at Seth's home and he started talking about the abuse? You know, I'm leaning more and more toward what I just said there, guys, because I don't think, I agree. I don't think Seth wanted, or Katie wanted Sebastian to go live with Seth. Chris is the one that talked about it. So then after the fact, Katie had to kind of go along with it. I mean, they have had, if that is what happened, they've had to do a lot of covering up. And why do you think they're so silent, guys, now? They got silent when Nick and Dog came on the scene. That's my opinion. So we're going to finish this up tomorrow night, probably. Thought we'd get farther tonight, but that's okay. I'd rather just chat with you guys after Oregon. Yeah. Alaska, where his mom and dad went right after. It's just, there's just so much to this, but I think we're on to something, guys, and I really am having fun chatting with you guys, trying to figure this out. You really are my crime busters. You really are. They got really quiet, didn't they? And silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. For those of you who know the Bible, be sure your sins will find you out, right? That's true whether you believe it or not, right? Silence isn't empty. It is full of answers. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me tonight. Stop in tomorrow night, 6:05 Central Time. We'll continue this video, and I'll write down where I left off so we don't keep going over the same things, but the chat was good. Oh, Mike, that is so good. If only silence had a voice, right? We would know so much more. They came out to do damage control when the case turned to an investigation. Yeah, they tried, didn't they? But it backfired on them. And it backfired on them not because of Katie so much, in my opinion, but because of Chris and his anger issues. It backfired. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.